So a couple of quick projects going on, which is we're doing a CVR 15-inch motor on a 10. We're doing a shallow 10 on a 2.5-inch coil. I have another one over there. And then I wanted to show you this. This is the ES motor from lower to base. It uses dual 1-inch slugs. It's basically a thicker top plate version of the old TC9. So let me see if I have one here on the shelf. Yeah. So this is the original TC9 with dual 3/4 inch slugs. This was used on, of course you can see the part number for Eclipse, but it was also used on the Orion HCCA 10D and 12D. And then the 15D had dual 1-inch slugs. So this looks like a regular 1/2 inch, we'll just leave that there. A regular 1/2 inch or even 12 millimeter top plate, and then this looks to be, I want to say about 15 millimeter. So I'm curious about this. It's also $30 cheaper than the UA3V2, which is the Glenn motor, which either was inspired or it's a copy of, I forget Glenn's last name. He was the, or he still is, the speaker designer over there at NCA Labs, Northern California Speaker Labs, and he basically copied the TC9 to make a lot of the subwoofers for Memphis, specifically the LVS, the Elvis subwoofer. So he designed that, and I think they did production there in California for Memphis on that. So one time, I don't know if I share this story with you guys. One time we both used the same parts supplier over in China, which was XY. I don't use them directly anymore. They're too big. They have bad customer service. But Alice was my rep, and she sent me a box of goodies, and I go, hey, what are all these prototype Memphis parts doing in this box? And she's like, oops, sorry, I sent it to the wrong user. And I was like, okay. And I had known Glenn, I forget how. I think I just hit him up. I can't remember now. I think I saw an ad in Speaker Builder magazine or something like that. But I was like, hey dude, can I take pictures? He's like, no. I was like, oh, okay. And so, but the really fucked up thing is they use my FedEx account. So sometimes that happens, and I didn't take it personal, but yeah, and then they don't do production like that anymore. They do all that stuff in China. But I think it was during the time for the dust caps that I have for the Mojo M6, that era of stuff. But at the time, I think they still use the orange powder coat 12-spoke on a lot of their stuff. But anyways, this is the L series frame that you probably most popular seeing from Sundown. And if you notice this little divot, I don't know if you can see that. That's where you drill out if you want to vent this lower half. I don't want to go through all that. I've done that before. I just put spacers on it. It's fine. And then we'll use the new 50 millimeter tall wine height dual 4 and dual 2. I'm getting the dual 2s now made in Mexico. And we're getting them. That's going to be our, that was originally the GONZO coil, but things have progressed quite a bit for that line, brand, whatever you want to call it. But it's still just a good 4-layer copper coil. It's got a thin outer diameter. I forget the dimensions on it, but once I get them in, I'll promote them, and you guys can buy them if you want. So, but that's what I'm going to use for this. I'm curious to see what this would be in like a red, like a glossy red. I think this would be a cool production woofer, just to be kind of high performance, but not cost too much. It would definitely outperform something like the Sundown SAv3 or V2, sorry, but it'd be at least $100 cheaper, and it would be made in America, so they don't make theirs in America anymore. But just a good motor. 105 on the Lord of Bass website, and then like I said, the UA V2 motor, which is, I think it's a triple 1 inch, or no, it's triple, I think it's triple 3/4 inch slugs with a I think a slightly thinner top plate, is a 135, and both really good motors. And think that's it. I wanted to promote that. There was something else I wanted to promote. Hang on real quick. Oh, that's right. Since I'm going to MTX today, I wanted to do the testing on this one. So this one we got done. I'm just waiting for that to cure. Put that on top. Get this out of the way. This woofer is from their preloaded enclosure with a built-in 200 watt, 250 watt amplifier. Each subwoofer is good for about 250 watts, which is basically following the same policy that I follow, which is that if you want to have a system that lasts all day, make sure that your woofer's RMS rating is 2 times that of the amplifier. And so that way, even at clipping, you can still run it for a very long time without damaging the woofers or anything like that. So, but looks like either a 1.5 inch voice coil, maybe a 2 inch. Here's the part number. It's a 0.7 ohm. I'm going to run 2 of these in series, and then I'm going to try to run it with a 2 ohm stable Class D amp, just because it's close enough to 2 ohm that it might be fine, so I'm not sure. I wanted to do the sweep on it and the parameters on it just to make sure that I'm making the right choice, even though I think a sealed box with some bass boost and a little bit more energy would be really good for these. I'm sure they would do better in a ported box, but the magnets are small enough where they actually, it's just cheaper and easier. Again, this is not a real expensive woofer, and so it's hard to get the end user to pay for a ported box, the premium of a ported box, when you can just use a sealed box and get the same job done. So let me hook this up real quick. So it doesn't have a vented pole. It vents out underneath the spider here. I don't know if you can see that right there. Again, it's not made for a lot of electricity to be flowing through it, so heat doesn't seem to be a big factor for this. It's the way that Arthur Wilkes talked about. Arthur, I'll put a link to Arthur's video. He used to be the test R&D guy for MyTech. I met him through Bernie Boland. He also fixed a lot of amps for me, did some technical work. He blueprinted one of the magnetizers I had so that we could get it working. And now I think he makes LED drivers and packages for, I think it's Verdi Power here in Arizona. So, but let's do a sweep. FS is 32, very nice. QTS is 1.436. And we'll put the mass on. This is the Thunder 4500. Again, Thunder 4500 is going to describe some cosmetic features. One of the other features is a stamped frame. This is actually a stamped steel frame. It looks very nice. They have the edges turned up, which are help with strength. And then it's also going to be the motor size. And then determining what version it is. In this case, it's the OEM version. They're going to use a very low impedance coil to basically, I don't want to say overdrive, but yeah, like you overdrive a CPU, same sort of thing. They're overdriving a amplifier circuit in order to sort of kind of cheat to get more stuff out of it than it should. But you can do that, especially with subwoofers, because the distortion rates aren't audible. Yeah, VAS is kind of high at 2.8 cubic foot, so this would probably be best in a, you know what would be really good for is for home, because with the home you can fit a 3 cubic foot box, ported box, and it's a very compliant suspension. That would be a good application for this woofer. I'm probably going to sell it to somebody that either owns a boat or just wants some cheap speakers in a sealed box. And so with the FS being 32, all it needs is a little bit more power than normal, which I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do the Recoil DI 600.1, which is a 2 ohm stable monoblock, good for about 700 watts, which is a little bit too much power for these, which I think will be a good fix. It has a fixed bass boost on it. I'm going to put it at plus 12, which I think should be right around 40 to 45 hertz, and they should sound great and be very affordable.